Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 3 of May 2025. Residential mortgage-backed securities or RMBS have been listed on the NSE for the first time in India, potentially raising over Rs 10,000 crore this financial year. This development is expected to reshape the property market by providing new funding avenues and enabling lenders to extend more credit, aligning with the Housing for All initiative. IndusInd Bank faces scrutiny as auditors demand clarity on its derivative accounting discrepancy, potentially classifying it as a fraud. The issue, involving losses near Rs 2,000 crore, stems from differing accounting treatments in internal and external forex transactions. The bank's board must decide on the fraud designation, impacting regulatory reporting and potentially setting an industry precedent. In a notification issued on May 10, 2025, the Examination Department of ICAI stated that the exams originally slated for May 9 to May 14, 2025 will now be conducted between May 16 and May 24, 2025. The exams will be held at the same centers and time slots. Importantly, admit cards already issued remain valid for the new dates. Elon Musk's Tesla is exploring land parcels in Satara, the hometown of Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, to set up a completely knocked down or CKD assembly unit for electric vehicles. This comes after Tesla's negotiations with Hyderabad-based Mega Engineering fell through. Canara Bank is set to disburse Rs 50,000 to Rs 55,000 crore in corporate loans, aiming for a 10% increase in its corporate lending portfolio. The bank targets 10 to 11% overall credit growth this fiscal year, focusing on manufacturing, infrastructure, real estate and green energy sectors. Indian banks are preparing to carefully increase their unsecured loans. This is due to better asset quality and less stress in personal loans and credit cards. State Bank of India expects personal loans to grow. Overall credit growth has slowed. The Reserve Bank of India had increased risk weights on these loans earlier. China's Ant Group will sell a 4% stake in Indian payments firm Paytm for $242 million. Ant, an affiliate of Chinese conglomerate Alibaba Group, will sell the stake at Rs 809.75 per share, a discount of 6.5% to Paytm's closing price on Monday. Goldman Sachs India Securities and Citigroup Global Markets India will lead the sale. Paytm has seen a spate of sell-downs in the past 2 years, including the exit of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway and Japan's SoftBank Group. The Goods and Services Tax Network has introduced significant changes to the refund application mechanism for 3 specific categories of taxpayers engaged in outward supply transactions. These include export of services with payment of tax, supply made to SEZ unit or SEZ developer with payment of tax, and refunds by suppliers of deemed exports. Taxpayers falling under the affected categories are advised to familiarize themselves with the updated procedures and ensure compliance with the latest advisory and invoice uploading guidelines to avoid delays in refund processing. The Central Board of Direct Taxes has notified the amended Income Tax Return Form ITR 7 through notification number 46/2025, published in the Gazette of India on May 9, 2025. The changes will come into effect from April 1, 2025 and are applicable for the assessment year 25-26. This form is meant for entities such as charitable trusts, religious institutions, political parties, research associations, and other institutions that claim exemption under various sections of the Income Tax Act, including Section 11, Section 12, Section 10, subsection 23C and Section 13A. Everest Fleet, one of the largest fleet partners in India for cab hailing firm Uber, is in discussions with some lenders to take possession of cars previously operated by the now defunct cab booking service BlueSmart. While the final number of electric vehicles to be procured is yet to be determined, the company said the decision will depend on the quality and pricing of the available fleet. Once the possession is complete, all cars will run under Uber Green, the platform's dedicated EV cab service. Mid-tier IT firm LTIMindtree on Monday said it has signed a $450 million deal with an agri-business company, marking its largest deal since the two companies Larsen & Toubro Infotech and Mindtree merged. While LTIMindtree did not disclose the client's name, the deal will provide a big fillip to the growth in an uncertain economic environment. As part of this deal, which spans 7 years, LTIMindtree will implement an artificial intelligence-powered operating model to deliver application management, infrastructure support, and cybersecurity services. Founders of Motilal Oswal Financial Services, Ramdev Agarwal and Motilal Oswal, have bought shares worth about $100 million in Zepto. The two founders have purchased shares worth Rs 425 crore each in personal capacity. Another investment of $250 million is in the pipeline. Currently, total Indian ownership in Zepto stands is about 42%. The current deal will not bring any fresh investment to Zepto itself. Apart from Motilal Oswal Financial Services' proposed $250 million purchase, Edelweiss and Hero FinCorp are also participating in these transactions, bringing the total to $350 million. The proposed deals do not change the valuation of Zepto. All deals are being executed at Zepto's previous valuation of about $5 billion set in August 2024. Tata Steel has allocated Rs 15,000 crore for capital expenditure across its India, UK and Netherlands operations in financial year 26, with 80% dedicated to ongoing Indian projects. The company is expanding capacity in India, transitioning to electric arc furnaces in the UK and focusing on decarbonization and efficiency improvements in the Netherlands. A growing number of Indian accountants are shifting away from traditional corporate paths, with 63% now aspiring to become entrepreneurs, according to ACCA's Global Talent Trends Survey 2025. The survey, which covered over 10,000 professionals across 175 countries, reveals evolving career goals driven by a desire for flexibility, purpose, and global opportunities. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI, has issued a consultation paper proposing key regulatory changes aimed at enhancing flexibility and investor participation in the Alternative Investment Fund, or AIF, space. The two major proposals include the introduction of co-investment vehicles, or CIVs, and relaxation in norms governing advisory services by AIF managers. SEBI has proposed to enable AIFs to offer co-investment opportunities to their investors through a separate vehicle known as a co-investment vehicle. This co-investment vehicle would be structured as an independent scheme of the AIF, thereby providing a formal and regulated framework for such investments. SEBI's proposals are currently open for public comments. If implemented, these changes could provide greater investment flexibility, deepen the AIF ecosystem, and enhance India's appeal as an investment hub. HDB Financial Services, the non-banking financial arm of HDFC Bank, is likely to request an extension from the Reserve Bank of India for its September 2025 deadline to go public. as an upper layer NBFC, HDB Financial is required to list on stock exchanges by September under RBI guidelines. The company filed its draft red herring prospectus in November 2024 for a Rs 12,500 crore IPO, which remains pending with the SEBI. The telecom companies will see a 10 to 12% increase in their average user revenue in the financial year 26, says a report by CRISIL Ratings. The increase in revenue is backed by the strong internet adoption and data usage in the rural areas. In the past 4 years, rural areas in India have seen a higher internet penetration rate than urban areas. The report says that while urban internet penetration increased 13%, the rural areas clocked a higher 19%. State-owned banks saw a 26% profit surge in financial year 25. However, net interest margins may face pressure this fiscal year. Banks like State Bank of India, Canara Bank, and Punjab National Bank anticipate lower margins. Geopolitical factors and potential US tariffs contribute to uncertainty. Credit growth forecasts are also tempered. Overall bank credit is expected to grow. IndusInd Bank is facing scrutiny over past accounting reversals flagged in a whistleblower letter to the RBI and the board. The letter also highlighted a discrepancy in interest income from the microfinance portfolio and an inappropriate relationship between a senior executive and an employee. These issues led to internal and forensic audits, executive resignations, and a significant financial provision. The Union Finance Ministry is considering levying a 10% basic customs duty or BCD on a key category of mobile tower components through a new product classification aiming to curb the misuse of tariff exemptions and bolster domestic manufacturing. This policy rethink comes against the backdrop of two high-profile disputes involving Samsung India and Nokia Solutions, which have claimed zero duty benefits on the import of such items. The government, however, considers this as a case of misclassification. Deep tech investments in India have surged, doubling to $324 million in the first 4 months of 2025, driven by increased commercial use cases and government initiatives. The rising interest has led to greater competition for deals and higher initial investment amounts. Zepto is launching Zepto Atom, a subscription-based analytics and commerce platform, on May 16th. Powered by Zepto GPT and NLP, it offers brands real-time consumer insights, hyper-local targeting, and quick delivery. Over 7,000 products and major brands are already onboarded for this exclusive initiative. Tata 1mg is entering a new growth phase with plans to expand offline and raise $300 million in external funding. Backed by Tata Digital, the e-pharmacy's revenue has tripled since 2021. It's now pursuing an omni-channel strategy amid rising competition and regulatory challenges in quick medicine delivery. Indian companies are increasingly recruiting senior lawyers from top-tier law firms to head their in-house legal teams, driven by growing regulatory complexities and business risks. This trend reflects a strategic shift towards leaders with strong legal expertise, risk management skills, and business acumen. These roles offer lucrative compensation packages, highlighting the elevated importance of legal departments as strategic assets. IndusInd Bank on Thursday disclosed to the stock exchanges that its internal audit department, in a review of the bank's microfinance business, has found that Rs 595 crore in other assets were offset against other liabilities in January 2025. Additionally, Rs 674 crore was incorrectly recorded as interest in the microfinance loan book over 3 quarters, later reversed. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has circulated a consultation paper that seeks public feedback on a set of relaxations aimed exclusively at foreign portfolio investors that invest only in Indian government bonds. The move forms part of a broader effort to deepen India's sovereign bond market and streamline entry barriers for long-term low-risk investors. The consultation marks a decisive step towards fine-tuning India's FPI ecosystem for specialized investors in sovereign debt. Market intermediaries, FPIs, and industry bodies should analyze the operational implications and respond before the 3rd June 2025 deadline to help shape a pragmatic, growth-friendly regime. On May 14, 2025, the SEBI issued a circular that extends the deadline to 31st July 2025 for alternative investment fund managers to ensure that at least one member of the key investment team clears the NISM Series 19C AIF Manager Certification exam. The requirement, introduced on 10th May 2024 under regulation of the AIF regulations, was originally slated to take effect by 9th May 2025, but has now been deferred by almost 3 months in response to industry requests and to facilitate smoother compliance. On May 14, 2025, the SEBI issued a cautionary press release announcing that it has accepted the voluntary surrender of registration by Strata SM REIT, a small and medium real estate investment trust registered earlier this year. The decision follows SEBI's reviews of adverse news reports and ongoing legal proceedings involving the REIT's promoter, as well as discussions with the trustee, an independent director, and senior compliance personnel. FMCG major Hindustan Unilever has received a go-ahead from the BSE and NSE for the demerger of the company's ice cream business. The giant's ice cream business includes popular brands like Quality Walls, Cornetto, and Magnum, and the demerger will lead to creation of a new entity, Quality Walls India Limited. Serentica Renewables, BlackRock, and Sembcorp are leading the acquisition race for Statkraft's Indian arm, submitting bids between $1.2 to $1.5 billion. Statkraft is divesting its 2 gigawatt portfolio of renewable energy plants across India, offering potential acquirers options to bid for the entire company or specific packages. The sale aligns with Statkraft's strategy to prioritize investments in other regions. Indian Oil Corporation Limited is strategically diversifying into sectors like data centers, nuclear power, and battery manufacturing to achieve a $1 trillion in revenue and net zero emissions by 2047. The company aims to significantly expand its refining and petrochemical capacities alongside substantial growth in green energy and natural gas distribution. A proposed 5% excise tax on remittance transfers by non-citizens in the United States has caused concern about discrimination in the Indian diaspora and among policymakers and tax experts. Part of US President Donald Trump's The One Big Beautiful Bill, the measure, if passed, could significantly affect Indian professionals who send money from the US to support families in India or invest in the country. India has officially entered the league of over 120 countries, including the United States, Canada, France, Japan, and Australia, by introducing chip-enabled biometric e-passports. This marks a significant advancement in modernizing international travel for Indian citizens, aiming to bolster border security, reduce identity fraud, and simplify immigration procedures. JSW Paints to acquire 75% stake in Akzo Nobel India for Rs 12,000 crore, marking a major consolidation in India's Rs 65,000 crore paints market. The deal boosts JSW Paints to fourth place and strengthens JSW Group's consumer-facing verticals alongside steel and cement. The Akzo Nobel deal will catapult JSW Paints to the fourth position after Asian Paints, Berger, and Kansai Nerolac, making it a formidable player in the domestic paints market, valued at Rs 65,000 crore. Singtel sells 1.2% stake in Bharti Airtel for Rs 13,173 crore via block deals to institutional investors. The divestment supports active capital management and strengthens Airtel's shareholder base. Post-sale, Singtel holds 28.3% stake, continuing its long-term commitment to Airtel's growth. A large majority of the transaction was sold to domestic mutual funds and international long-only funds. In the absence of banks which focus on loans of Rs 15 to Rs 20 lakh, NBFCs are finding growth opportunities in the high-yielding micro loan against property business, which are sub Rs 10 lakh loans. Industry executives said there are growth opportunities given that the MSME sector remains starved for credit. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.